Thanks for reaching out to us. While I don't have insight into potential figures in the works, I would be happy to share your request for Mobile Legends figures with my larger teams. I can also give you some insight into a few factors that allow us to create characters, if you're interested in learning more about how we work. Beyond what fans are looking for, one of the largest factors behind what we were able to create lies in licensing rights. That's a fascinating topic in itself, and if you're interested in hearing more, our Funcast, aka, our Funko podcast recently had a segment on licensing. You can find it here, and the licensing conversation is in the first 10 minutes. Our artist and production schedules are another big factor. Would you believe that, last year, alone, we introduced over 1,000 new figures across our vinyl lines? This isn't even including existing figures that are still in production, or items from our plush, home, apparel, or other product lines. We love creating new figures for fans, but the requests and our own wish list are always something we need to balance in our jam-packed art and production cycles. We are incredibly devoted to our Funko community. You're the reason we all love doing what we do each day, so while I'm not able to make you any promises, I absolutely will pass your wish list onto our licensing, art, and production teams. In the meantime, I'd recommend signing up for our newsletter if you don't already get it. That's a great place to hear exciting product and company news. Thank you. The Funko Support Team.
Welcome to episode 5 of the Funko Funcast, the only official Funko podcast recorded at Funko HQ in Everett, Washington. I'm your host, Sully, and in celebration of Chinese New Year, which begins Saturday, I am Year of the Rabbit.
I'm Cameron, and I am Year of the Horse.
I'm Yoko, and I'm a rat.
I'm Hillary, and I'm a tiger.
And we're joined by a special guest this week who we'll introduce just a second, but her name is...
I am Lauren, and I'm a rooster. It's your year.
It's your year. It's a big year.
Nice.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Big celebration plans already?
Absolutely. All weekend, I'm going to be raving.
Oh, you're bringing raving back too?
Absolutely.
Nice.
Dress like a rooster.
Yes.
Mandatory.
Yeah. I'm sorry I asked.
All right, so you heard Lauren is here with us, and we wanted to introduce her and give her a chance to talk a little bit more about Funko. We've got a lot of questions from people about how we do licensing and what goes on behind the scenes. So Lauren, who is our brand and licensing manager, is going to tell us a little bit about what she does.
So my goal is to go out and get all of the licenses for all of the great product we make so that we can give you all of your favorite characters based on your favorite TV shows, anime properties, musicians, comics, you name it, I'll get it.
Nice. And how long have you been with Funko?
It'll be 2 years in March.
Nice. Mm-hmm. What are some of the ways that we approach licensing? Like, do people come to us? Do we go to them? How does that work?
It's a little bit of both. So there are times that we'll pursue a license, and it could be Brian watched a movie over the weekend and he loves it and says, go get this movie for me. It could be our customers, like Hot Topic will say, hey, anime is doing really, really well for us. Here's some properties that customers are asking for. And then sometimes it's the feedback from our customers direct to you guys via the Q&A and the your comments saying, hey, we're seeing a lot of things trending for Teen Wolf. Let's take a look at that.
And are there ever any obstacles that keep us from getting those licenses?
Oh, so many. So, well, to backtrack a little bit, there are also times when outsiders come to us with properties. So it could be the studio saying, here's our next big film. It's coming out next year. Here's everything you need to know about it. It could be someone that just contacts us unsolicited and says, hey, I've got this great character I would love for you to make. Please talk to me and take my property. And so we will have those conversations. And both, whether we are reaching out or whether we are being solicited, it's a conversation of what is the property? When is it coming out? When will the product need to be in market? What is our bandwidth? And how does it meet the Funko brand expectations? Does it make sense for us?
Awesome. Well, in anticipation of having you on the podcast with us today, we tweeted out from Original Funko and asked fans if they had any questions for you. And we got in a lot of great ones, so everybody who took the time to send in a question, we appreciate it. But we have to narrow it down to a few because we could do like a whole hour with Lauren, you know. First up, Zach Weso says, what's your white whale of a license that you've been trying to get for a long time?
It's going to be the ones that everyone asks for and they wonder why they're not there. So, little guy named Mario and his friend Luigi. Nintendo is a huge one that we would love, and Pokemon is another one that we would absolutely love. But there are obstacles in the way that are out of our control, so it's not necessarily our interest, and it's not to throw our licensors under the bus. There are just other things taking place that we're not ready to be there yet.
Makes sense. I know we get those questions a lot, and it's not that we ignore people.
Yep.
We want to answer them, but yeah,
Well,
you're working on it.
I think a great example is Studio Ghibli is one that we were very interested in, and we reached out, and they were very gracious, and they said, you know, we love what you do, but we're just not looking to get into vinyl figures right now. So thank you, but we'll let you know when we're ready. So sometimes they're just, it's too deep into licensing, and they're not ready to go there.
It may come back around. Alyssa Berry says, what are your daily job tasks?
Well, there are offers that are being flown left and right, just saying, hey, this is Funko. If we have to introduce ourselves, we love your property. We want to make great product for you. Here's an offer saying what we want to make, when we want to make it, and probably send out 3 to 5 a week at the least. And then the other key aspect is being the key contact for our licensors. So when Warner Brothers has any need, if they need retailer information, if they want to know what's going on with the product, if they want to say here's some additional assets, if they need something, if they need Brian, if they need anything, they come to us in the licensing group first, and then we will either take care of them or get them directly to the person at Funko they should be speaking to.
And with, what do we have, like over 2,000 licenses at this point?
That might be a little big. We have over probably close to 400 individual licenses.
But then there's all the individual characters that go with them, right? Still, I can't imagine the number of emails and phone calls that generates.
It keeps you busy.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. And you still have a smile on your face.
Amazing.
Wait, I have a side question here that you didn't prepare for, but I think it's okay. But I think something people don't realize a lot with licensing too is like just because we have the rights to something doesn't mean we can make whatever we want.
Correct.
So I don't know if you can touch on like the product categories briefly.
Sure, absolutely. So, and this kind of goes back to your question about obstacles. There are times that we can carte blanche, do whatever we want to do, especially with smaller properties that don't have as many partners. Other times there are limitations. There might be the master rights are held by somebody else, so we can only do pop figures because someone else controls it, and that's all they're allowing us to have. There are issues with regards to talent and likeness. So I think a great example is The Godfather. We've had the license for years, but we just came out with figures recently. Part of the problem was originally we only had rights to the character of Don Corleone. And sure, you could release just the Don, but then everyone's going to say, where's Vito? Where's Fredo? Where's Sonny? And it's not giving the consumer a great experience, and we were able to wait until those likeness rights were cleared up, and Paramount could say, great, go forward, make the figures that you want to make, and give your fans a full line. So that is a limitation that we have to deal with. So oftentimes, if there's a favorite character that makes no sense why they're not there, there's a possibility that we're not allowed to move forward with it. I think another thing, too, is that there's often a moratorium on classic properties if there's a new film coming out. So I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but a lot of times people will put any classic films on hold because they don't want to flood the market with classic when there's new product for a new IP coming.
Makes sense. And finally, from our Twitter questions, Austin Fillion asks, why does a license end, and what do we do to reobtain a license?
Well, each license has a typical term of about 2 years. So that's from the very beginning until the end. That was a horrible answer. We typically have rights to execute product within a 2-year window, and especially if it's for a new theatrical release, there's not much happening after the movie's been out. It's been on DVD. There's just nothing really happening with it. If you can't sustain the consumer interest, then you just let it go and you wait until maybe there's a sequel and then you'll look back into it. But if it's a property that movies out, DVDs out, and this product is continuing to sell like bananas, then we might say, hey, let's keep going because there's still plenty more characters to pursue. There's still plenty of consumer interest. Everybody loves it. It's going to be a great fit for a new line. You just have to see where it fits amongst everything else we're selling.
It jives with some of the releases that we just saw for London Toy Fair, which we'll talk about in just a minute.
But I think just to add on to that too, is it's kind of like becomes a bandwidth issue for us too. Like, sure, we'd love to continue to make everything we've ever made forever, but that's just not realistic in what we're able to handle in a production standpoint.
Absolutely.
So that's why some licenses have to get let go.
You have to retire them and make room for new friends.
Nice. Any other questions for Lauren before she leaves us? No? All right, well, thanks. That was awesome. We appreciate your time. I'm sure everybody who's listening loved it. So if y'all have any more questions for her, send them in.
Maybe we can have her back in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren.
Thanks, Lauren.
All right, and now for the segment we know you love the most. This has to be everybody's favorite, right?
The one that stresses us out.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm actually anxious every time.
It's the box coming your way for the Funkcast Blast, our get
Got
to
the
know
scares.
segment. Yeah, I gotta shake it
I
close.
still feel like we need a fun sound effect for Funcast.
I know.
Yeah.
We're
What
on
would
it.
you
We're
guys
working
use
on
for
that,
a sound? Like,
Funcast Blast.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fun cast blast. What?
somebody needs a whistle.
Yeah.
And then first up this week is Cameron.
What's up?
We switched seats
Let's
just
do
to
it.
mess with everybody.
That's right. I'm
Cameron.
super nervous.
You're trapped for an hour with only your phone. What app do you start first?
Oh, Twitter. Easily Twitter.
He's already
Yeah.
on Twitter.
Yeah.